Off this one interaction, I gave myself false hope to think that it might not have self-destruct or explosion, but what is my luck right now? This is my attempt to beat a Pokemon Emerald randomizer with just a random starter. We have come here today to see if I'm destined to win and be Himhan, or fail and be Puddlehan. For the rules, I'll only use the starter Pokemon I initially pick up. If said Pokemon faints, I'll reset the entire run. I will not be using any items in battle, and I will not overlevel the ace Pokemon of the current gym leader I need to face. To stop myself from overleveling, I made it so I just don't earn any XP after fights. So instead, I'll be leveling up just using rare candies. So to start off, my options are between Chansey, Gardevoir, and Gligar. I pick up Gardevoir, and you'll know why if you watched the previous vid of Pokemon Platinum. And in all honesty, how was Birch allowing himself to get pressed by the Zigzagoon? Bro, just punted. Like, what if I didn't show up? Would he just be cooked? My glorious King Ash would never go for this. Anyways, we beat the Zigzagoon to save Birch and get to name our Gardevoir Zelda. Generic? Yes. But does it work? I think so. I make my way to May and slowly but surely cook this special wall of a Chansey with confusion. With May defeated, we run to the Petalburg Woods and I run into this skippable trainer. He throws out a Dugtrio and it goes down with a single confusion. So does his Leap until...
Hey bro, come on now, dawg. Come on, man.
There is just no way. All I have is confusion to my name and he decides to throw out a dark type? Are you serious? I max out my evasion with double team and lower its attack with growl because I'm trying to stall as much as possible at this point, so at least one of us could start struggling. But of course, he hits an Ember and Gardevoir gets burned. So this is how we're starting off. Okay, on to the next run. This time we could pick between Scizor, Mantine, and Speed Demon Deoxys. Obviously I go for Scizor. I name her Gillette, like you know, the razor, and Scizor ends in Z-O-R. You know, you get it?
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
I beat May with 3 quick attacks and go back to the Petalburg Woods. I skip this trainer this time and have to face off against this Team Aqua Peon. He throws out Elekid and it gets off a quick attack as I use Leer. He then uses a Thunder Punch as I drop his defense a little bit more. Now I go for quick attack and immediately get affected by static. So now I have to roll the dice and pray I don't lose due to getting stun locked. He uses another Thunder Punch and Scizor of course gets stun locked. It gets off a Leer and a quick attack before feigning to my own quick attack. With this grunt defeated, we can make our way onto Roxanne. She throws out Xatu, and as I'm spamming Pursuit, she gets off a Leer, a crit with Peck, heals up with a potion, and decides to spam her own Nightshade before I finally take it out. For her second mon, she throws out, Say it ain't so. Say it ain't so. And just like that, Ember sends Scizor to the upper rooms to join Gardevoir. Let's just try again. My 3 choices this time are Sparrow, Chansey, and Ludicolo. I go for Chansey, I cook the Zigzagoon, cook May's Spearow, and like a moth to a flame, I run into an easily skippable trainer. She throws out Weezing, and if you have played any of the Pokemon games, you'll know that there's a few Mons that have a certain tendency. The tendency I'm talking about is being a walking nuke. I use Pound, and it gets off a tackle. Off this one interaction, I gave myself false hope to think that it might not have self-destruct or explosion, but... What is my luck right now? Whatever, let's just start again. Next run, we could pick either Camerupt, Haunter, or Croconaw. I pick Haunter because I don't want to deal with another Pokemon as a 4x weakness. What I failed to realize is, Haunter has nothing to hit the Zigzagoon with, so all I can do is struggle, which works, but I pray this is not how I have to win going forward. I beat May's Camerupt by spamming Lick, and like I mentioned before, like a moth to a flame, I run into another random trainer, and we can't hit each other, so it's time to struggle again. His Porygon and Lunatone eventually go down, and let's just say, like the genius I am, I don't heal at the Poke Center and just heal with a potion, so I can continue using struggle, until once again I run into another skippable trainer. They throw out CeeLo first, and immediately freezes Haunter with Powder Snow. Just to rub in how unlucky I am, I stay frozen for 5 whole turns. While at 4 HP I use struggle and get a crit, but that doesn't really matter when I'm at 1 HP and about to eat a water gun. At this point I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed. Let's just move on. Okay, attempt number 5. We have Entei, Smeargle, and Golem. I picked the Pokemon with a 4x weakness, even though I just said I wouldn't after losing with Scizor, but the me now compared to the me from 3 attempts ago is a different beast. I'm simply better now. We pack up the Zigzag and name Golem Terra. Is it generic? Yes. Does it work? Yes. I beat May's Smeargle with 2 tackles and move on to the woods again, where of course, I run into the same exact skippable trainer. They throw out Crawdaunt and it goes down with 2 tackles. The Seadra comes out next and I give it the double tackle treatment. But Seadra has poison points, so I end up getting poisoned. Their next Pokemon is Groudon, who eats a tackle and gets off a mud shot. I take damage from poison and another mud shot, but take out Groudon with 1 more tackle. For his last mon, he throws an X-Cloud that goes down to tackle after I miss a few. Like the very caring trainer I am, I race back to the Poke Center to heal Golem, and fail to realize that in Generation 3, this is the generation where your Pokemon can die to poison and burn outside of battle. Golem faints, but let's be real, is this really my fault right now? Like, it's not my fault that Golem fainted to something that was caused by me and easily avoidable. Anyways, with Golem's failure, now we have to restart the run. Alright, next attempt we have Torchic, Electrode, and Togepi. I go with Electrode and realize early game is going to be easy with Sonic Boom. Zigzagoon, gone. Maze Torchic, gone. This Grunt Surviper, eviscerated. We have finally made our way back to Roxanne, and she leads with a Seaking. I wish I had a single electric type move I could actually use, but no. I use Sonic Boom and get put in Genjutsu with Supersonic. Electrode isn't phased by the confusion and still gets off a Sonic Boom. Since Seaking is in the red, it actually gets healed up, and I also get hit inside the Genjutsu. Next I get hit with a Peck and snap out of the Genjutsu just to get off a final Sonic Boom. Or so I thought. Electrode somehow misses. Seaking gets a crit with Peck, but goes down to 1 more Sonic Boom. Roxanne's second Pokemon is Grimer, so I keep using SB until it eventually faints. Her last Pokemon is Pineco. It puts up that Row Ias to block my Sonic Boom, and it tries it again, but it don't work like that. I mean, you can get off 2 Protects in a row. I don't know how it works though. According to me, it just be happening sometimes. Anyways, we get off 2 more Sonic Booms as Pineco self-deletes with Takedown. After 6 attempts, we finally have our first gym badge. With this being our furthest run, we run into the next team Aqua Grunt. He throws out a Primeape and it gets cooked with 2 Sonic Booms. For our second May fight, she throws out a Skiploom who faints to 2 Sonic Booms, and Torchic who goes down the same exact way. We now reach the second gym leader, Brawly. He throws out a... oh no.
Oh no.
I go for a Sonic Boom and the AI does end up reading me and uses a counter. Thankfully now Wobbuffet is paralyzed, so I decide I have to try and one-shot it by dropping his defense as low as possible with Screech. Once its defense can't go lower, I try to get off a tackle, but it doesn't take it out in one go. Thankfully he uses Mirror Coat, so I'm still alive. Brawly heals up the Wobbuffet, so I get off 4 tackles and somehow don't get countered. With the Wobbuffet down, the next Pokemon he throws out is Seaking. It dodges a Screech and lands a Horn Attack. I get off a tackle, but I think you know what happens.
Please! Please! No!
Bro, so you're trying to tell me right now, Electro learns his first attacking electric type move at level 21. Like, how does that make any sense? You know, let me not dwell on it. Let's just start over. Okay, this will be the actual run. We're gonna do it this time. My options are Misdreavus, Jirachi, and Solrock. I go for Solrock, I beat the Zigzagoon easy, and name Solrock Praise the Sun. I make my way to May, and she has the Jirachi. She uses Wish, as I go for a tackle, and let's just be for real. We all know how this is about to end. I get walled by it having Wish, and me doing less damage than it takes for it to heal, and since I can't heal myself, Confusion just cooks us slow. I'm just gonna start this next attempt, because it's 2:36 in the morning, and I'm trying not to crash out. This time around, we could pick between Bayleaf, Lunatone, and Latias. I go for Lunatone to avenge the fallen Solrock and its brethren. I beat the Zigzagoon with a few tackles, and move on to May's Bayleaf and beat it with 2 confusions. I go to the woods to take on the Team Aqua Grunt, and he throws out an Executor. It takes a while, but it goes down after a couple of confusions. Up next, we reach Roxanne, and she leads with a Tropius. I get a crit with Rock Throw, which causes her to heal up immediately. I use 2 more Rock Throws to take out the Tropius. For our next Pokemon, she throws out a Bayleaf. We get off a Confusion and tank a Razor Leaf. I use Confusion again, and it actually gets a crit to take it out. For our final Pokemon, she throws out Illumise. It eats a Rock Throw, but forces Roxanne to use a potion. But it doesn't matter, because with this next Rock Throw, it's over. Okay, with this Rock Throw, it's over. Okay, with this one, it's over. Thank you. With Roxanne's defeat, we get our first gym badge, and now we have to do the second May fight. She leads with a Beautifly, and it goes down by a single rock throw. Next up, she sends out Bayleaf, which tanks 2 confusions, and dishes out 2 Razor Leafs of her own, leaving both of us at critical HP. Thankfully, I outspeed and win with the final confusion. Now on to Brawly. First Pokemon up is Shroomish, and it goes down to a single crit confusion. He sends out Pineco next, and it gets off 2 Protects in a row. I eventually do land a confusion, and it sends Pineco down to red. Brawly ends up using both of his stim packs to heal up the Pineco, but it doesn't matter. It gets packed up, so he sends out his next Pokemon, which is a Cascoon, and all it can do is use Harden while I'm spamming confusion. With its defeat, Brawly hands me my second gym badge, and now we move. I make my way to Slateport City to fight these Team Aqua bums. The first one throws out Hitmonchan, and it faints to 2 confusions. The next one throws out Oddish, and it gets 1 tapped with a confusion. Kadabra comes out next, and it takes 3 confusions, but it ends up spamming Kinesis, so I missed 3 additional confusions, but eventually it does hit and end this fight. May blocks our path again, just for her to lose. She sends out Combuskin, and of course it gets 1 shot. She then sends out Meganium. I land a Hypnosis to get a free confusion, but it wakes up immediately and goes for Growl like an idiot. I get off another confusion, but get hit with Razor Leaf, which can take Lunatone out if it does hit again, but thankfully I weave the Razor Leaf and end Meganium with 2 more confusions. Her last Pokemon is Gligar, and it gets packed up with a crit confusion. With May's defeat, we make our way to go beat on Watson's Pokemon. He leads with a Beautifly. I end up putting it to sleep just so I can start spamming my only setup move, Harden.
Hey, yo.
It wakes up and lands a Stun Spore and Absorb, so I chuck a couple rocks at it to take it out. Primeape is up next, and it hits Majora with a Karate Chop. I end up getting stun locked, so for the next turn he ends up lowering my defense, and I land a confusion. Before fainting, it lands another Karate Chop. Watson's next Pokemon is Machoke, and we end up putting it to sleep and just taking it out with 2 confusions. For his last Pokemon, he throws out Nuzleaf, and it fakes out immediately. It goes for a Nature Power, which turns into Swift. I eat that and put it to sleep, but manage to get off 3 rock throws before it wakes up. We get hit with Swift, and Nuzleaf weaves a rock throw. It ends up using Swift again before we put it back to sleep. I throw a couple more rocks, but get stunned again. While I'm beaming these rocks at the Nuzleaf, Watson uses up both of his super potions. Now that the Nuzleaf wakes up, we put it right back to sleep and continue using rock throw. Somehow it wakes up again and lands 2 Swifts, but finally it goes down after the 13th rock throw. With Nuzleaf being his last Pokemon, I take Watson's gym badge and his money gladly for wasting my time. I hope I don't have to deal with any more drawn out battles again. Look, what's so funny? We now run up this volcano to have our first battle against Team Magma's leader Maxie. For his first Pokemon, he throws out Jolteon. It throws dust in Majora's eyes, but still lands the Hypnosis. With Jolteon asleep, we land a rock throw and a crit confusion, forcing Maxie to use a super potion. I try to get off some more confusions, but the first one hits and the next 2 miss. It eventually wakes up and we trade 3 Thunder Shocks and confusions before Jolteon finally goes down. Quillfish comes out next and tries to be like Ant-Man and shrink itself, but it don't work like that. Even when healed, Lunatone packs it up with 2 confusions. Next in line to get packed up is Meganium. We put it to bed and it manages to tank 3 confusions. Luckily, the third one confuses Meganium and causes it to hit itself twice, so we put it out of its misery with the final confusion. With Maxie's defeat, we could go ahead and go get our 4th gym badge, but before doing that, I decided to do a little bit of gambling at the game corner. Yeah, screw that. Put them cheats in real quick. Let's purchase Ice Beam and Psychic. Now the moveset is almost complete. We just need Calm Mind. So, Flannery's up next to come catch this beating. She leads with Torchic and it lives a Psychic. So Flannery uses a Hyper Potion to heal up. I decide to use Ice Beam and then Psychic to actually take out the Torchic. Arbok is up next and it gets taken out with a single Psychic. Our next Pokemon now is Politoed and I put it to sleep real quick. After 2 Psychics, it wakes up and tries to waterboard me. So I put it back to sleep and land another Psychic. Politoed wakes up early again to hit a water gun, and it gets healed with a Hyper Potion. I use Psychic and put it back to sleep again. With it fast asleep, 2 more Psychics take it out. Flannery's last Pokemon is Skiploom, but you already know what's about to happen. Ice Beam, send it straight to the Gulag, and just like that, we have obtained our 4th gym badge. Now it's time to put the beats on our father's Pokemon. For his first Mon, he sends out Graveler. Please God, don't go for Self-Destruct. Graveler can't do too much damage to me, so I decide to spam Cosmic Power power and I get hit by Rock Throw 4 times in a row. We take out the Graveler with a single Ice Beam. Next up is Vileplume, and a single Psychic takes it out. Krabby tries to avenge its comrades, but Psychic does what it does. For his last Pokemon, he throws out Alakazam. It disables my Psychic, but it doesn't matter since I was already going to go for an Ice Beam to get rid of it. I use 3 Ice Beams to get rid of the Alakazam, and with that, we have beaten Norman, and now we can move on to potentially the most stressful fight in the run so far. Winona leads with Houndoom, so I give it some NyQuil and hit it with a Rock Tomb. It wakes up early and uses Howl, but another Rock Tomb takes it out. Volbeat comes out next to set up Tail Glow and eats an Ice Beam. Of course, I should have used Rock Throw, but in my heart of hearts in this moment, I felt like Ice Beam was super effective against Bug. Anyways, it protects against my next Ice Beam, it gets off a Signal Beam and drops me down to below half HP. Thankfully, Rock Throw lands and takes Volbeat out. Winona throws out my guy Silver, it preps a Future Sight, so I put it into a coma. Winona then switches Silver out for a Zapdos, so it gets hit by my Rock Tomb. I outspeed and put Zapdos to bed as well. The Future Sight finally hits me and it does some damage, but it doesn't matter. Since it's fast asleep, we spam Ice Beams to get rid of the Zapdos. Silver comes out next and uses Future Sight again, so I put it right back to sleep. What I failed to realize is that it has Natural Cure, and it's curing the sleep whenever it swaps out. She throws out Cleffa and it goes down to 2 Ice Beams. She throws back out Celebi because it's her last mon, so it can't run now. 2 more Ice Beams takes it out, and now we have obtained our 6th gym badge. Before we go for our 7th gym badge, we have to put a stop to this absolute idiot, one half of the Goof Troop. Like, just because you have the blue orb, you really thought Groudon was just gonna obey you? You idiot. Anyways, he leads with Hypno. I try to put it to sleep, but Hypno actually has insomnia. He disables my hypnosis, so I use Ice Beam and weave his poison gas. I get off another Ice Beam and tank a Headbutt. He pops a Chug Jug and tanks another Ice Beam. This absolute unit takes 5 more attacks before actually going down. He sends out another special wall for Majora. I put Lapras to sleep and managed to get off 2 Psychics before he pops another Chug Jug. All that heal did was stall the inevitable. I get a crit with Psychic and take it out with another one. Maxie then sends out Tyranitar, another damn tank. I use Ice Beam and weave its scary face. I then decide to put it to sleep, but for no reason apparently, since it wakes up frame 1 to eat an Ice Beam and land a scary face. Now that it outspeeds, it lands a Rock Slide that drops my HP down to yellow, but the Poke Gods are on my side, and Ice Beam freezes Tyranitar. With it still frozen, an Ice Beam Rock Tomb combo takes T-Tar out for the win. With Maxie's defeat, we can now move on to the twins, so I can finally become complete and become the true moon with Calm Mind. To start the fight, the twins lead off with Sandslash and Electabuzz. Now look, you might consider this cheating, but they say you can't fight this gym with just one Pokemon, so what better Pokemon to bring as a sidekick than itself? You might consider this fugazi or, fraudulent, but it's my run, so I'ma do what I want. Electabuzz hits Majora Dose with Thunder Punch, but we put both of them to sleep with Hypnosis. Now that they're both asleep, we double Psychic Electabuzz to take it out. Dustox comes out next and gets the double P treatment. Kingdra is the last backup Pokemon they have, and it gets off a Water Gun on Majora Primo, so my Majora is hit it with 2 Psychics, while Majora Dose gets hit by a Slash. 2 more Psychics gets rid of Kingdra. We end the fight by using 2 Ice Beams on Sandslash for the win. With this, we finally get the missing piece of the puzzle. Now that we have Calm Mind, for the first order of business, we actually have to go take out Archie for the first time. But what he doesn't realize is, he's about to get destroyed. He sends out Mawile first, and we both set up with a Calm Mind and Iron Defense. I go for a few Psychics and eventually take it out. Flareon comes out next, tanks a Psychic, and lands a Bite. Archie heals it, but it goes down to 2 more Psychics. For his last Pokemon, he throws a Heracross, and a single Psychic sends it home. Just like his friend in a Goof Troop, this idiot really thinks the Red Orb is going to be used to fully control Kyogre. These two are just beyond dumb. But now it's time. We meet up with the realest, the coolest, and the best legendary, Rayquaza. He pulls up on a scene and shows these inferior beings who's the real top dog. Like, look, I like Kyogre and Groudon, but Rayquaza is just that guy. And you know what? For some reason, as the world is crumbling and 2 damn near gods are right outside this gym, this so-called gym leader is just chilling, playing that new Expedition 33. By the way, this game is so fire. I have to cook this bum. First Pokemon out is Muck. I put it to sleep and begin to enter the zone for 3 turns. Psychic takes it out in 1 shot. Venusaur comes out next and get that same treatment. Swampert follows and also can't take a Psychic. Swan sends out Yanma. It protects itself and gets a speed boost. It lands a wing attack, but it doesn't really matter because Ice Beam sends it to meet the Pokédevil. For his last Pokemon, he sends out Slacking. It confuses Majora with Swagger, which causes Majora to hit itself. He shakes it off and lands a single Psychic to take the Slacking out and beat this fraud of a gym leader. Now that we have our 8th and final gym badge, we can now move on to the Elite Four and Champion. Okay, I just thought about it, but this might be the first time I actually mention my boy Wally, the young goat with a dream, that I'm gonna put the rest. He leads with the Vileplume and we put it to sleep, so now we can enter the zone for 2 turns and take it out with a single Psychic. Next up is for Alligator and it falls to a Psychic as well. Ursaring comes out next and managed to actually live 1 Psychic, so Wally heals it up just for me to send it packing with another one. He sends out Sandslash, but let's be real, Ice Beam takes it out. For his last Pokemon, he throws out Charizard and it gets 1 tap by Psychic for the win. Now that Wally is defeated, we can now take on the Elite Four, and first on the chopping block is Sydney. He leads with a Togetic, and Hypnosis puts it to bed, and now we can enter the zone for 4 whole turns before getting hit with a double edge. Majora uses Ice Beams, which takes out the Togetic. Next is Dugong, and it goes down to a single Psychic. Hypno comes out next, eats an Ice Beam surprisingly, so Sydney has the nerve to heal up, and we get off 2 more Ice Beams to pack it up. Charizard comes out next and lands a Wing Attack, but faints to a Psychic. For his last Pokemon, Sydney sends out Exploud, and it gets sent to the Gulag with a Psychic. With Sydney down, we move on to the next Elite Four member. Phoebe's first Pokemon is Salamence. It protects against Hypnosis, but not for long. With it asleep, we use Calm Mind and pack it up with a single Ice Beam. Next up is Ludicolo, and it tanks a Psychic. It gets off an Astonish and does decent damage, but Majora takes it out with a Psychic. Ampharos is next, and it tanks a Psychic and gets off a T-Wave. Now that it outspeeds, it lands a Thunder Punch, but goes down to another Psychic. Golduck comes out next to go down to 2 Psychics. For Phoebe's last Pokemon, she throws out Sandslash, and an Ice Beam is all it takes to bring it down. 2 members of the Elite Four down. We now move on to the next person to get added to the win-loss ratio, Glacia. She leads with a Flygon, and it drops my defense down with Screech, but it goes down to a single Ice Beam. Glalie is up next, and it sets up Hail, so we put it to sleep and get off a Calm Mind. We tank a Crunch and then give it that Professor X treatment. She then sends out Sceptile and immediately uses Detect, but we go for a Calm Mind. It tries to get off a Slam, but we leave it and put it to sleep with Hypnosis. Ice Beam takes Sceptile out, so Glacia now sends out Crobat. It wastes the turn using Mean Look since I can't escape anyways, so I take it out with an Ice Beam. Her last Pokemon out is Articuno, which kind of fits her character well. It uses Mind Reader, and we put it to sleep with a little bit of NyQuil. She tries to keep Articuno alive with these Estus Flasks, but we eventually take it out with Psychic. Now, only 1 more member of the Elite Four stands in our way. Drake starts off with Electabuzz. It drops Majora's defense with Screech, so we put Electabuzz to sleep. While it's asleep, we get off 3 Calm Minds, but it sets up a light screen. I get hit with a Swift before putting it back to sleep. Electabuzz goes down to 2 more Psychics. He sends out a Parasect next, and we put it to sleep to take it out with just a single Ice Beam. Manectric comes out next and faints to a Psychic. Drake sends out a Salamence, and it gets off 2 Protects in a row before it stalls with Fly, which does land a lot of damage, but it faints to a single Ice Beam. For his last Pokemon, he sends out Machamp, and Psychic does his job to send it to the upper rooms. With Drake's defeat, we pack up the entire Elite Four and get to make our way up these steps to become the Honored One. The final battle is now upon us, and it's time to Wallace, the soon-to-be former champion, starts off with a Dustox. We put it to bed with Hypnosis and then really put it to bed with Psychic. Artillery comes out next and gets hit with that NyQuil. We enter the zone for 2 turns and get hit with a Bubble Beam, but it goes down to a Psychic. Next up is Quagsire, and I give it that Shigeo treatment. Rhydon is next and Ice Beam sends him to Agartha. Wallace then sends out Poliwrath and it gets banished to the Shadow Realm. Rapidash is Wallace's last Pokemon. It lands a bounce, but with 1 last Psychic. We have finally done it. We have beaten Wallace and have beaten Pokemon Emerald with 1 random starter. Lunatone, I have a new appreciation for you. You were a real one. I'd like to thank everybody for watching, and if you did enjoy the video, please give it a like. If you want to see more content, subscribe to the channel. If you have a recommendation for the next game we should play, put it into the comment sections. And with that, I hope everyone has a great day, and I'm gone.